Hey everyone, welcome back. My name's Dustin Kreis, and today we are going to do a demo discussion, and we're going to talk about Nioh, a new game coming to us from Team Ninja of Ninja Gaiden fame, and it's riding hot on the coattails of Dark Souls 3, and this is sort of Team Ninja's version of the Souls formula, and it's both helped and hurt by being so close to Dark Souls because it's riding on the hype. People are done with Dark Souls. They really want to get that next experience. But at the same time, being so close to Dark Souls, it's impossible not to compare it to Dark Souls 3. And whereas Dark Souls 3 is a finely tuned machine, I found that Nioh was a bit rough around the edges, a bit sloppy, a bit unbalanced. And of course, this is a demo. They can do a lot with it. But at the same time, it's both hurt and helped by being so close to Dark Souls. So basically, this is Dark Souls in a samurai skin. The combat feels a bit quicker, but it kind of feels like Nioh doesn't really know what it wants to be quite yet. Does it want to be a more methodical Souls experience, or does it want to be a more actiony Ninja Gaiden experience? It really kind of takes those two thought processes, in my mind anyway, slaps them together, and then, you're kind of left with, what you got. And there's certain situations where it felt just natural playing Nioh, and then, but most of it, it was really me struggling to find the correct tempo for the combat, because I'd approach a situation like an action game, get killed completely, and be like, okay, well, I'll slow down and be a little bit more methodical. And I would also be killed doing that. So it was somewhere in between those two mindsets that I was able to find sort of a good tempo for the game. But it took me a long time getting there. I always feel like you're outnumbered. There's in the initial part of the game, there's one guy on a beach. You fight and you kill him, fine. As soon as you go up the hill, you start facing multiple opponents, and it's finding that tempo, and you leave your guard down, and then the other guy attacks you, and of course, like a Souls game, anytime you get attacked, you're completely open to the other, person just wiping you out. So it took me a long time to really find that nice little tempo. Never mind running away from anything to regroup, because they will just chase you completely across the entire map to kill you. So it does kind of miss that Dark Souls balance, I guess, to where if you get into an oh shit situation in Dark Souls, you can usually get yourself out of it. Not relatively easy, but if you're good enough, you can kind of get yourself out of it and regroup and go back and fight again. It doesn't really feel like you can do that in Nioh. It feels like you are in this fight and you need to wipe these guys out. And like I said, finding that weird mix between sort of Souls methodical approach and a more actiony approach, it takes a while to do that. So that's a big negative to me. But again, that's just going to be me sort of feeling the game out more and getting that tempo down. A lot of good things in it, mixed with some bad things. The game throws weapon durability like to an insane degree. Like, your weapons will begin to break the minute you start using them, and they just go down really fast. Now, that being said, in the demo there are a lot of weapons to pick up, and this might just be a demo thing to kind of make you experiment with other weapons. You can get swords, you can get axes, you can get spears, a lot of different weapons to explore with. But yeah, those weapons start degrading like the first strike you do. And then the only way you can repair your weapons is with whetstones, which in the demo, I've only found one whetstone so far. So, they might be few and far between. They do not refill your durabilities at the shrines like Dark Souls does. So weapon durability is a much a bigger thing in this game. But again, it might just be for the demo to make you experiment with other weapons. Once the final game comes out, the durability meter might actually move a bit slower. But yeah, you know, you have different stances with the weapons, which I explored them a little bit. It seems like if you attack from a more of a high stance with your sword, you deal a lot more damage, use more stamina. Whereas if you fight from a mid or low position, didn't really mess with the low position too much, mostly mid and high. And then with the spear, I found that the mid position was the best for me as well. Axe was just a slow lumbering beast to use anyway. Usually I try to stick to katanas or spears. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I played it and I just came off of Dark Souls 3. So, like, graphically it kind of impressed me. But the rest of it kind of felt half-baked. And it's a demo. I get that. It's a demo. But at the same time, it's like, okay, you guys are just aping Dark Souls and not really, you know, doing what I feel makes Dark Souls kind of special, which is more of a balance issue, which I know is hilarious because about 2 years ago I was railing against Dark Souls and how much I hated the combat. But I don't know, Nioh, I'm gonna watch how it develops a little bit more. Maybe they'll release like a beta demo, and we'll see how people feel. It's not gonna be one that I pick up release day. I might wait for it to get kind of cheap, but we'll see how people sort of feel about it. I know Steven wasn't really feeling it when he was playing it, or at least that's what he said in the chat. And then some other people seem to really dig Nioh, but for me, it feels like it's got a little bit more, needs to be put back in the oven a little bit, I guess. Yeah, it just feels a bit half-baked. It feels like it doesn't really know if it wants to be an action game or a Souls game, which, you know, it's its own thing, so it should find its own approach. But at the same time, when it's basically doing everything else that Dark Souls does, like copying it like 100%, like, it's hard not to compare them, you know. I know the game is its own thing and it'll do its own thing, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. So, I don't know, I might play it a little bit more. I kind of got sick of it after a while because, again, finding that tempo for the combat was just ridiculous. And then once it throws another enemy at you, a big enemy, it's like, okay, well, I have to find a completely new tempo now because, you know. But that's part of the learning experience with these games. But I feel like with Souls, at least I could pick it up a little bit quicker than with Nioh, because I guess with Nioh I'm trying to play it too much like a Souls game, and that doesn't really work. So anyway, just a quick discussion on Nioh. I'm going to keep my eye on it, but for right now it just feels a little underwhelming, especially coming off Dark Souls 3, which was pretty superb. So anyway, just some quick thoughts. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.